Right hand side, Kieran Trippier, a La Liga winner with Atletico Madrid, a losing Champions League finalist with Tottenham Hotspur. We spoke about it earlier on, how that big game pedigree is certainly almost all Manchester United's, but Kieran Trippier does bring big game experience to Newcastle when they will need it. This man, Casemiro, on the ball, who's won it back here for United, has so much of it as he finds Anthony, tries to get around both Joe Linton and Dan Burn. That's no easy task. And Newcastle bring it away. Bruno Guimaraes pokes it on to Saint-Maximin, who's running diagonal, and he's away from Dalot, and he's brought him down in the centre circle, and that should probably be an early yellow card here for Diogo Dalot. Yeah. If this was 10 minutes later, I'm not sure there'd be a discussion. There's a good counter on there for Newcastle, and Dalot stops it in very blunt fashion.
Well, that's the so the referee's boxed him. I think he's had to make a point, and I'm not one of them for early ones, but Dalot's done something silly there, really. He's charged in. He's made it easy for Saint-Maximin to go past him because he's gone towards him far too quick. He didn't break his run up as he tried to close him down, and he's used that to try and accelerate past him. And he's just gone and made a stupid error there. It's going to affect him now because he's up against that man now, in theory, until the end of the game.
First yellow card of the game goes to Diogo Dalot, who started the last two Premier League games. First start since November, when he was out at the back end of the run of games before the World Cup, and since then as well. I saw him in a game against West Ham at Old Trafford where he was the best player on the field. Superb that day. As the ball is chipped forward by Trippier over on the right hand side, beyond Wilson. Will it be kept on over on the far side? It will not go out for a goal kick. Good work over on that far side by Fabian Schär just to prevent that. A couple of chances now for Newcastle to dink one in behind the Manchester United back line, but neither's been successful so far.
No, they haven't. I mean, United have started the game like a house on fire. Newcastle slowly got themselves in here. They're the ones who are causing more problems at the moment, Newcastle. United haven't really been in the opponent's half properly for quite a while.
Newcastle trying to do that classic thing you do in what is usually a home game. Get out there first 15, first 20, get amongst it, try and score the early goal. That has not come to fruition here as we are 10 minutes into the Carabao Cup Final 2023, and the score is 0-0 between Manchester United and Newcastle United here with TalkSport's international team and our broadcast partners around the world. Great to have your company on this very chilly Sunday afternoon in London. The temperature is around 7 degrees Celsius, but we, I've got to tell you, are in a position underneath a tier of seats, so a lot of people were sitting in the sun, Paul, for a long spell building up to this game, whereas you and I have been essentially in this private igloo now for about 3 hours, so I hope we can feel our fingers by the end.
And we have to look at that sun now. It's that little small bit now to our left, isn't it?
And being as we've got no air, that's probably quite handy for us on some days, but not so much today. Could do with that sun. Got a free kick here for Manchester United, midway inside their own half, and they've allowed themselves to push some offensive players forward. Lisandro Martinez will take this free kick. It's around 10 yards inside the United half. Callum Wilson sniffing around for a short pass to Varane, who's dropped off. He wants to make it. That pass isn't on, and now he flips one into Bruno Fernandes in space. The Manchester United captain in fine form once again for them. Back to Varane and Martinez, who can now bring the ball forward from just inside their own half. Diagonal from Lisandro Martinez, cleared away from the big head of Botman. And there's a ball on here to Saint-Maximin. If Joe Linton can make it, he tried to make it, didn't get enough meat on it. And it's intercepted by Dalot. Brought down by Bruno Fernandes of Manchester United. Down the line to Anthony on the right sideline, almost on the end line now. Turns away from Burn by the corner flag. Little drag back skill, but doesn't go anywhere with it. Finds a ball back to Casemiro instead, chipped on to Fred, who tries to flick it on, brought down by Weghorst. Can he get it under control? He can! Oh. And he gets a drive at goal, Wout Weghorst, but just could not get enough behind it, and it trickles into the grateful gloves of Loris Karius.
So he's desperate to score, he wants to score in the final. He's still desperate for his first Premier League goal. When he gets in those areas, he just doesn't find the finish when it really matters, and it's on his left side, and he gets decent contact, but just no great power.
Did score against Nottingham Forest in this competition for Manchester United, but that's it so far for Wout Weghorst's time at Old Trafford. Down the other end, it's Newcastle coming forward, crossed by Trippier, flicked on dangerously by Callum Wilson from right to left in the penalty area, but no one had made the run in there to turn that one home. So Maximan and Joe Linton were close by, but simply not close enough.
No, the problem was it's their centre forward who's flicked it on. There was no midfield player who was driving in there, didn't have the belief he was going to make the header.
Plenty of space for Bruno Guimaraes here, finds Longstaff ahead of him on the right hand side. Bruno again for Newcastle, right to Kieran Trippier, who tries a first time cross in towards Joe Linton and Wilson. It's away by Manchester United, recovered by Dan Burn, whose pass is wildly off target, trying to find Saul Maximan over on this left hand side. And it's a sigh of relief for Manchester United. Newcastle are really finding little pockets of space, aren't they?
They're getting in behind Manchester United, a lot more so than what Manchester United are getting in behind them.
Newcastle United have never won the League Cup in its various guises, with its various sponsors. Aiming to do so today, having lost the final on one occasion, back in the 1970s. 1976 to be precise, when they lost to Manchester City, the same team they beat in the 55 FA Cup final. The last domestic piece of silverware. Manchester United 5 times winners, once with the man alongside me in the team at the old Wembley. Here is Miguel Almiron, signed a new contract at Newcastle this week, midway inside Manchester United territory, runs into the bulky frame of Ten Hag favourite Luke Shaw, who's able to win the ball as well as put a firm challenge in. Bruno Fernandes popping up in a pocket of space over on the left hand side for Manchester United. Into Casemiro, trademark crossfield ball to Anthony. Further on to Dalot on the end line, cuts it back across the face of goal. Weghorst was there, couldn't turn the ball home. Really good defending in the penalty area on that far side by Fabian Schär, who gets it away, and then it's thrashed further upfield by Bruno Guimaraes.
Well, that's the first time Manchester United have got in behind Newcastle, and it was Dalot, and he's pulled it back from the byline, and in the end they were very unfortunate that no one could get to the end of it.
15 minutes played, Manchester United, Newcastle United 0-0 at Wembley Stadium. With David De Gea, who's all in bright yellow, away to our left-hand side, the Manchester United goalkeeper. He has been in terrific form in recent times. He passed Peter Schmeichel's record of clean sheets in all competitions. There is Varane, 4-time Champions League winner, to Dalot on his right. Back to David De Gea again, who's around the penalty spot. Newcastle choosing not to press as De Gea will go long. Rashford's gone over the top here, and they might find him here, you know. That's a really good ball, and Rashford could be in the penalty area. Marcus Rashford just forced out right. One ball over the top has done Newcastle. Anthony tries a swing up towards goal. It's gathered easily by Loris Karius. Very simple chance created there. Eddie Howe will be furious with that.
That could have been embarrassing. The thing that done Marcus Rashford in the end, the ball was bouncing too high. Could see he's putting his leg back, thinking about going for the half volley, but the ball didn't come down low enough for him to do it. That's why he's done the right thing, and he's kept possession, and he gave it to Anthony.
Both Botman and Schär, so impressive this season. Part of Newcastle's Premier League best defence, but we're done there by a very simple ball over the top. At the other end, here's Alain Saint-Maximin, dropping the shoulder and running at players, exactly what he loves, but his pass is very poor, straight to Weghorst, who's now dropped a bit deeper, and Marcus Rashford is now the man through the centre for the moment for Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes tries to find him, didn't quite execute the through ball, and Newcastle win it back, and it's a bit end to end here as Almiron drives at Shaw. Overlapping runner is Trippier. Here he is now, up against Shaw, nutmeg pass, trying to find Almiron, who just misjudged his run, and it will go through to David De Gea. Threat over. Lots of misplaced passes at the moment.
There is, yeah, definitely. The thing that worries me now, when Marcus Rashford's gone into that middle, straight away Kieran Trippier has just started to bomb on. If he's got everything in front of him, Kieran Trippier will bomb on. The one thing about him, he's maybe, when it comes to quality, he's mostly the best in the Premier League with the ball at his feet as a right back.
Hello to Stu, listening to us in the United States of America, enjoying the game. We've got Arsenal fans in Ghana hoping for a Newcastle United win in this Carabao Cup final. At TalkSport Live is the place to share your location with us and let us know your thoughts on the game. End-to-end stuff so far as Fred looks like he's won the ball back. But the referee says no, that is a foul. Bruno Guimaraes of Newcastle then goes to the referee and asks for a yellow card to be given to Fred. Now that in itself is a bookable offence, but again the referee, David Coote, has kept his cards in his pocket. Turquoise top and black shorts today for the referee, David Coote. As Newcastle take the free kick short and try and work it down the right hand side with Callum Wilson. So good at holding the ball up, so good at backing into the defender behind him. This time it's Sandro Martinez. He's trying to spin around. Martinez pokes a foot through his legs and knocked it out for a throw in on the far side. So throw into Newcastle United, who have not made a significant chance of note as yet in this Carabao Cup final. They have the ball across their defensive line as Fabian Schär will find Sven Botman. And then it's the giant Dan Burn at left back, a man who's played in all 5 divisions of the top 5 divisions of football in England. Boyhood Newcastle United fan, brought in from Brighton and Hove Albion at the start of the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia era. Man United trying to fire one down his channel here, but Newcastle are able to stop that attack and win a throw, which Burn will take. Are you surprised to see him play at full-back, Dan Burn, still?
Yes, I am. I just think when I look at it, Newcastle, they're going to step forward, they will get a left-back. They will definitely get a left-back who definitely can attack a lot better. He does a job, but if they're going to really look to step on, they will go out and get another left-back.
Here he is, Burn, clearing the ball away from the corner flag area, up towards Wilson, who tries to flick on to Almiron. Can't do so that time. Lisandro Martinez will get there first and knock it a long way back to David De Gea. Almiron's not giving this one up though. The former Atlanta United man, the MLS Cup winner, chasing everyone down and forcing Manchester United. They've done it well, but forced them to play the ball when maybe they wouldn't have preferred to. Up now to Fred on the halfway line, who's turned away from 2 tackles. It's a challenge from Longstaff that wins it back for Newcastle. Not for long though. Pass in field, intercepted by Joe Linton. Referee says foul from Longstaff, and that's a Manchester United ball. 20 minutes gone, 0-0 at Wembley Stadium. Just a one significant chance to this point. That was Wout Weghorst's effort, which was saved easily by Karius. Newcastle United have shown plenty of impetus, but no penetration to this point. Here's Anthony, bit of space, right sideline for Manchester United. Entering the offensive third, his crosses, something that's upset Paul Parker. Wasn't so good.
Oh, it was terrible, wasn't it? Terrible.
Shocking. Towards Maximan here, who can't keep the ball in.
I mean, I'm looking at Anthony, and I think you're up against Dan Burn, 6'4", 6'5". You're looking for it to twist him, to make space, to run beyond him, and everything's in front of him. Dan Burn at the moment is having the easiest time ever.
You might expect a better cross than that for £85.4 million. The third most expensive signing in the history of big spending Manchester United. We've got a break in play here because Bruno Guimaraes is down for Newcastle United. Now he's been away suspended since the semi-final of this competition, so he's not played for a while. Looks to me like this might be some sort of impact injury in the play somewhere. Can't see anything of note. He had that collision with Fred earlier. Gives Eddie Howe a chance to have a conversation with Joe Linton and Son Maximan and Botman and Callum Wilson. I don't think this will be a game-ending issue here for Bruno Guimaraes, but certainly a massive concern for Newcastle United because Paul is just so important to the way they play.
He is. I mean, every Newcastle fan, they talk about him. Bruno is their man. They absolutely idolise him.
Winless in every Premier League game he has not played this season. 4 draws and 2 defeats in that time. Missed both the games against Liverpool. Most possession, most successful passes, you name it. Bruno Guimaraes is top of the performance charts for Newcastle United, so they will be hoping desperately that he'll be able to come back on here. He has wandered off. Quick chat with Eddie Howe, bit of magic sponge, and he is back on the field again for the Magpies, and we are back underway with Manchester United on the ball, as they have been for 44% of this match to Newcastle's 56. 2 shots from the Red Devils, both on target, neither going in.
So I'm just watching now, I've just seen Ten Hag, and he was virtually asking when they was in this area just in front of us here, when he had the ball around, he's asking Marcus Rashford to make a run. He wants him to run diagonally, run diagonal for the straight pass, and Marcus Rashford is just staying wide. He wants him to get more involved when the ball's on our side of the pitch.
Well, he did temporarily go centre forward for a couple of minutes as there was a bit of a mid-move reshuffle for Manchester United. Now back out on the left-hand side, as Paul says, with Weghorst back in a more understandable number 9 position for a big striker. Here's Alan Saint-Maximin, who's taken on 3 players here in the offensive third. He slips over, but he is still able to find a pass to Bruno Guimaraes, who runs into Fred. Not a great ball into Bruno originally, and he can't do much of it, and Manchester United can win it back with Weghorst and Fred. That's loose from Fred, and Joe Linton slides in, and that's a really poor challenge there from Casemiro. Newcastle play on, cross field, trying to find the runner over on that far side. Almiron shouts of handball against Fred in the penalty area, but not sure you're going to get that, but he might unsettle Fred for a bit.
It was more in hope, wasn't it?
You might as well call for it. You never know. Didn't look like handball in truth, but might make Fred think again. Maybe next time the ball's bouncing around the penalty area.
Casemiro's challenge, he must have touched the ball.
Must have done.
Because the referees didn't say play on or anything, did he?
It looked somewhat firm, and I thought he missed the ball completely, but you need binoculars to really see exactly what's going on inside this vast stadium. Near 90,000 in today at Wembley Stadium, the home of English football. First time Newcastle have been here. Two of the players have been here before, though. Of course, Callum Wilson scored here against the USA for England. Kieran Trippier, regular England international. Here is Kieran Trippier. It's such a big impact since coming into Newcastle United. The former Tottenham and Atletico man, of course, played for Eddie Howe during a brief time together at Burnley. 12, 13 years ago now, long old time.
Blimey.
Even you still had hair then. Good drive forward, Fabian Schär finds Almiron, corner of the area, overlapping run, Kieran Trippier, that's a good ball, and that's a good chance, and it's headed over the top here. I think he's gone head to head with Lisandro Martinez, Fabian Schär, and both have gone down here. Fabian Schär immediately waving for treatment.
So it's not too bad then.
Lisandro Martinez is down. We're getting a replay on our monitors of the chance here for Newcastle United. Brilliantly worked down the right hand side. Schär started the move, continued going, he won the header, balloons it over the top. Maybe had one eye on Lisandro Martinez, who's a good few inches shorter. But as he's shown this season, that's not been an issue for the Manchester United defender, but both men have gone down.
I think there's a contact for Martinez that, like, Schär just kind of pulled away a little bit, took his eye off the ball, affected him, when in theory if he'd have gone at him, just kept his eyes on the ball, he scores a goal from there, doesn't he? The pace of the cross, he could just use that and that would have been enough.
You a man who's played kind of centre-half but also been vertically challenged, what's a good way, if you've got Fabian Schär running at you, you're Paul Parker and he's taller than you, what's a good way to put him off in the way Martinez did there?
I'll jump into him.
Is that what Martinez has done here?
Yeah, he's just jumped at him. He knew he wasn't going to win it, and he was just going to make the header for him so much more difficult by jumping at him.
Did people say that to you when you were playing centre-half? You can't play there, mate, you're too short.
No.
Never?
No, not really, no.
Is that just a modern thing? You have to be kind of a gargantuan Rocky IV type person to play centre-half these days?
Well, I look at... No, you don't, because the game's soft now, isn't it?
Yes.
That's the game was 100% more physical then. I mean, I got picked in the England squad because I was playing at QPR as a centre-half.
The way centre-halves are talked about sometimes, and when Lisandro Martinez came in, of course we had that conversation as well at the time, and the Brentford game infamously was a bit of a nadir for him, the second game of the season, but it's always talked about like, oh, you've got to be Ivan Drago to play centre-half in the Premier League, otherwise he won't make it. And it's just not true, is it?
No, not in a million years. They just make it up as they go along, just some gossip really, and that's all it's been. He's proved himself already. He's proved himself in Holland, by the way. He's played in Holland, which I keep being told, Holland has the tallest people in Europe.
What?
Holland.
As a population or footballers?
As a population. So I'm presuming he was up against...
Where were you getting this news?
No,
who's this from?
It's what I read.
Is this bloke down the pub stuff?
No, I don't go into pubs.
That's true.
I go into wine bars.
Is this lady in the wine bar Is this your chat line?
It is while I'm holding a nice glass of Sauvignon Blanc.
Hello, darling. Guess where the tallest people in Europe are? What a great chat line. Players still down here. We are just having a bit of a chat. We're also waiting for the two players, Fabian Schär and Lisandro Martinez, to continue their treatment. Of course, concussion protocols are followed seriously these days. Lisandro Martinez is up. He looks like he's come off a bit better off. Then Fabian Schär is still down. That does give you a moment just to let you know about midweek. There were 2 games in midweek in the Premier League. Of course, our Premier League live team cover every single game to listeners outside the United Kingdom and our broadcast partners around the world. We are back with you on Wednesday for Arsenal against Everton. We also have Liverpool Wolves for you. And then Saturday, full programme in the Premier League. The Manchester United game has been moved to the Sunday from the Saturday, but our feature games very, very good as well. So make sure you join us for City. You go to Newcastle, Arsenal against Bournemouth, and Southampton up against Leicester City. Looks like we are about set to get underway here with Fabian Schär walking off with a couple of members of the technical staff. Not quite sure what he's injured, you know. I've seen a couple of replays of it. Is this a bit of a concussion issue, or is it something else? Because there was a stretcher brought over. Not 100% sure what's happened to him here. He's walking over to the sideline. We are about to get underway again here with Fabian Schär off the field receiving treatment. Also on Saturday next week, by the way, Chelsea, Leeds, Villa, Palace, Brighton, West Ham, Wolves, Tottenham. And next Sunday, Liverpool take on Manchester United at the late game on Sunday. We've also got Brentford, Fulham for you on the Monday. So a terrific weekend of Premier League action. Next weekend is brought to you by the Premier League live team. Make sure you are with us for all of that. Check your local listings and our broadcast partners for full match commentary. Fabian Schär's alright, he's back on, as is Lisandro Martinez, and the Carabao Cup Final 2023 can resume. We are heading up to 30 minutes played, and the score is 0-0 between Manchester United and Newcastle United. Tom Rennie and Paul Parker with you in the commentary positions at Wembley. Win here for Newcastle. Bruno Guimaraes will find Joe Linton, then left to Alain Saint-Maximin, who'll run at Dalot again, who's on a yellow card. Down the line to Byrne, overlapping, cross through the legs of the retreating Weghorst, but cleared away. Up to Fred here, who's done well to get away from Longstaff, and Weghorst will try and find Rashford on the big diagonal. Doesn't get enough behind it, and Trippier can get there midway inside his own half. A cushion ball into Botman, then Longstaff, then Saint-Maximin. Pressure from the Red Devils, but Newcastle work their way out well. Over on the right hand side to Kieran Trippier, who's got Almiron ahead of him. Rashford to company. Checks back in field and finds the run diagonal of Longstaff. He wants to find Almiron right hand side. Here he is now. Miguel Almiron, short to Bruno of Newcastle. Then right to Kieran Trippier. Fred for company, Rashford for company. Here is Bruno, back towards Fabian Schär, who looks alright on the right hand side of that Newcastle United central defensive pairing. Forward to Almiron, first time right to Trippier. On towards Longstaff, Wilson in the box. That's a brilliant ball across the 6-yard box. No one's there to turn it home. Great skill, Saint-Maximin. Great save by David De Gea. Volley by Bruno. But that's over the top for Newcastle United. That's the best the Magpies have put together so far, and they have not taken the lead.
Well, they're having problems on that side, on their left-hand side of the defence. They're getting him behind far too easy. Trippier's having too much time. Almiron is pulling Luke Shaw all over the place. That's the only thing, the biggest problem for Newcastle. They haven't got a player who attacks that 6-yard box when they get to the byline. Fortunate enough, Callum Wilson is pulling off wide as well. So United, in theory, have to sort that side out. Luke Shaw's got to get tighter. They need Marcus Rashford, to do a bit more defensively, not to allow Kieran Trippier to be enjoying himself going forwards.
On this other side as well, terrific footwork from Alain Saint-Maximin, who's a nightmare to play against at the best of times. Never mind on a yellow card, as Diogo Dalot is on the far side. Rashford is running at Trippier, and Bruno of Newcastle, and the referee is given a free kick for a shove in the back from Newcastle's Brazilian against the England winger on the far side, and looks a pretty clear foul despite the protestations of the Newcastle fans over on that side.
Yeah, it definitely was, without a doubt. He's definitely pushed him. Yeah, he's blocked him off. He's alright.
Seems a fair enough decision, but a few complaints from the Newcastle United players. Trying to get inside the referee's head for the next one. It's a free kick left-hand side. It's about 5 yards away from the sideline. 20-25 away from the corner flag. Shaw's delivery chance! And there's your opening goal! And it's turned home at the near post for Manchester United. And it's a man so used to playing on the big stage, so used to scoring goals in cup finals. It's Casemiro with the goal. Casemiro, near post flick, no chance for Newcastle to clear it away, and Manchester United score the first goal in the Carabao Cup final.
Yes, it's the man who a certain person said has only come really for the money. I'll tell you what, he might be taking a bit of money, but he's making himself an absolute hero for this football club. What a wonderful header again from him. He scored a goal early in the season with his head. He's not just an all-round footballer. There's more to him than what people ever knew. So I really do believe that Manchester United are getting more from the player than what Real Madrid did.
It is a 5th goal for Manchester United for Casemiro. 2 in the FA Cup, 2 in the Premier League, a first career goal in the Carabao Cup, though there is a check for offside going on. The Newcastle United line was around the edge of the penalty area. It may well be a close one here, with the retreating Newcastle defenders and the offensive Manchester United players. We are seeing the working out here, which we don't normally see in Premier League games. Usually they leave the broadcasters in the dark, but we are seeing them working it out right now in front of us as to whether Casemiro is offside. This is going to be close. Seriously. It's going to be Casemiro's
offside
left toe and maybe Callum Wilson's right toe that will be looked at here by VAR. It's Peter Banks doing that job on the monitors today, assisted by Eddie Smart, the assistant video assistant referee. And they have decided it's a goal for Casemiro. He is just onside, and it's celebrations for one half, the west side of Wembley Stadium, as Manchester United lead the Carabao Cup final. Confirmed, Casemiro.
Well, it was all this game at the moment. It's all going to be about who scored the first goal. This will definitely change Newcastle now, the way they've have to approach the game.
And that ball is blasted into touch by Lisandro Martinez to raucous cheers from the Manchester United crowd, who perhaps hadn't been encouraged by their team's performance much to that point, but they certainly are now. A big red flare has been set off in the stand away to our left as Newcastle attack that end, trying to get back into this game immediately. Bruno Guimaraes onto the magic man, Saint-Maximin in the area, dances away from 2. Bruno right, Trippier now, corner of the penalty area, down the line to Almiron, end line, right hand side, tries to set up Trippier again, who does now put a low ball in, and that's a challenge on Bruno in the penalty area by the retreating Weghorst. A little bit clumsy, but he does win the ball. Newcastle retake it though on the far side with Kieran Trippier, who's seeing plenty of the ball still over on that far side. Almiron, infield to Bruno, up against Weghorst. Every Man United player in their defensive third here, away to our left as Newcastle go forward into Joe Linton. Dan Burn to Alain Saint-Maximin, facing away from goal, turns Dalot on the outside. Dalot goes to ground and wins it back, but that's a risky thing to do.
Yeah, he has to be careful. I mean, he's close. I mean, he was about to get away, and he's actually has pulled on his shirt, by the way.
It's a yellow card here for Fred for a challenge over on the far side.
Yeah, that was the way he's bided his time, the referee, and he's pulled him up for it. Fred has to be careful now as well.
There's 2 yellow cards now for Manchester United. So they have the lead as we get to 36 minutes played and the score 1-0. For the Red Devils. Lisandro Martinez has gone in firmly there on Callum Wilson, who's gone down, and he'll receive some treatment here. He'll need some, certainly, from the medical staff at Newcastle United as the butcher of Old Trafford, as they like to mince your words, do you?
You've done well there, by the way.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I didn't want to chop you off in your prime, you know.
Let it go.
That was 2 there.
I know.
Free kick here for Newcastle, midway inside Man United territory, just right of centre. Again, Kieran Trippier is over it. Such a great free kick taker, Kieran Trippier. So far today, it's not worked out for him.
No, it hasn't. I'm looking at this line. That is
down the line to Callum Wilson to take a shot at goal. That's blocked. Almiron will now take a second shot at goal. Newcastle claim it was blocked on the way through. That's not given by the referee, and it's a goal kick to Manchester United as Newcastle trying to strike back as quickly as they possibly can, comes to nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that line was very, very shallow from Manchester United. That was seriously high, and with someone like Kieran Trippier on the ball, you have to be really careful, and I think it was an added bonus they decided to go down the side to Almiron, and it didn't work out.
I wonder how many people out there had Casemiro for the first goal. Having a terrific goal-scoring season. His best for a few years. 2021 he found the net with regularity for Real Madrid. As United come forward again here with Weghorst driving towards the penalty area. Weghorst, and Rashford is in here for two! And it is two! And it's that man, Marcus Rashford. The in-form man for Manchester United, the in-form man in English football. You simply cannot let him through on goal right now. And Manchester United are in a commanding position in the Carabao Cup final. First Casemiro, now Rashford, and it's 2-0 to Erik ten Hag's Red Devils.
And I always say, that's all you got to do is just get the ball in front of him, give him an opportunity to see the goal, and generally 9 times out of 10 he'll hit the target, and there's every chance then he's going to score, and he's gone and done that straight away on his left side as well. And it was far too simple for Manchester United to get him behind this Newcastle defence.
25 goals this season now for Marcus Rashford, 14 in the Premier League, scored in the FA Cup and Champions League, but it's this competition where he's really come to the fore. It's a 6th now in this competition. We're seeing a replay of it. It's a big deflection, it seems, off the retreating defender coming in to put the challenge in. That's what loops it up over Loris Karius, who was expecting the low shot.
Yeah.
It flips up high. Wasn't much chance for the goalkeeper when that's happened.
No, it's not a chance. It was Botman as well. He's got himself there. Deflection has made a massive difference to that. At the end of the day, if you don't shoot, you don't score.
2-0 to Manchester United against Newcastle United in a Wembley final. Flashbacks of 99 for many of the fans in black and white away to our right. We're in the 40th minute. It's 2-0. Casemiro and Rashford. Newcastle need to find a way to strike back as soon as they possibly can here. Goals have not been free-flowing in recent times. Rashford has been, and here he is now driving forward. He's gone down again under challenge over on that far side, running into the challenge of Fabian Schär as he just jinked the ball away from the Newcastle United defender, and that's another free kick for Manchester United. Another 1-1 by Rashford.
Yeah, I don't think he could do a lot more really, Schär. He couldn't get out of his way. Marcus Rashford was just going at him with so much pace.
United fans away to our left, just swinging their free scarves given to them by the club above their heads. The atmosphere in the west side of Wembley, as wild as it's been everywhere else, Newcastle fans have been, at least before kick-off in this game. What have Newcastle got in response? So much of this season they've barely trailed in games, and Paul, that's of course incredibly commendable. I think 15 goals in total conceded, but it also doesn't give you a great deal of experience of chasing the game, coming from behind, having to fight back in this sort of scenario.
Well, that's the thing I always said about Newcastle, is that if they score the first goal, you have got a massive, massive problem. So now this is a test for them, really, how they can get themselves back into it. More importantly, have they got enough about them as a team to go out and get themselves back in this game?
2-0 down against Liverpool last week, 2-0 down here, not won their last 7 Premier League games when conceding the first goal. Of course, this is not a Premier League game, but recent history does not bode well for Newcastle United. They must surely score before the half-time whistle, and Callum Wilson is trying to do just that. He's the only man forward for Newcastle. He's running at both Casemiro and Martinez. Casemiro gets a challenge in, breaks the Kieran Trippier right-hand side here for Newcastle. Into the offensive third. Leaves it for Longstaff, who runs in field and will find Bruno, then Schär, then Botman. And back to Sven Botman again, left-footed, cross-field, space again for Kieran Trippier. Retreating to challenges Rashford, who puts a good challenge in. And it's a corner for Newcastle United, who surely, Paul, won't get this sort of space on the right-hand side second half.
I really do hope not in certain ways, because it's been poor. Marcus Rashford has done well to get back, but he should have done the work earlier. Do the hard work early. And he hasn't done that. He's hoped that the ball wasn't going to go to Trippier. In the end, he's had to work even harder to get back, and he gives away a cheap corner.
Corner short into Alma on the end line. Back heel to Trippier. Cross comes in. There's a chance! And it's flicked towards goal, but flicked wide at the near post for Newcastle United. On the 6-yard box, I think it's Dan Burn with the flicked header. A crowd of players in the 6-yard box. The tallest man on the field wins it, but he puts it wide when Paul Parker, you got to feel like he should have scored, at least hit the target.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, again, that was easily worked. It was a set corner and it was great, but it was far, far too easy. On the left-hand side, it's a big, big problem. We've recently seen this with Garnacho when he played in front of Luke Shaw. He ends up taking him off in the end, so he brings on Sancho for experience. But Luke Shaw should be better, and he should be talking to Marcus Rashford and demand that he stops that happening. He's got to get them virtually, when they haven't got the ball, he has to man-mark Kieran Trippier for the last few minutes.
Heading into the final minute of normal time in this first half. There will be a decent amount added on after the injuries to Fabian Schär and Lisandro Martinez, plus a couple of goals and wild celebrations as well. How important is it, do you think, that Newcastle United scored before half-time?
I think mentally it's really, really important for them. Like you talked about, they haven't been behind before. They need something to get to chew on, and they haven't got at the moment. They'll be saying to themselves, we should have, but they haven't at this moment in time, so they really do need it. So I'm looking at their bench. There's not a lot there, is it, to change it for them?
Will Eddie Howe feel they've been the better team to this point? Does that matter?
No, not at all. Not in a one-off game like this.
There's Joe Linton, great power to get away from Dallo on the left-hand side, but he can't get away from the covering challenge of that man Casemiro, who then gets the crowd going behind David De Gea's goal as well. Legendary player of European football, legendary Real Madrid man, much beloved at Manchester United.
In a very, very short space of time. Not many players have done it. I would put down Eric Cantona. He's competing with Eric now, and Eric done it very, very early as a player.
As long as he doesn't follow the trawlers with the sardines, we'll be fine.
No, he's more about the seagulls.
They're dropping trophies over the side. We are going to be having a few additional minutes at the end of the 45 here. Just missed the board there below us. 5 added on at the end of this opening 45, so plenty of time for Newcastle to get back into it. There are ways through. It's going to show they've got the ability to get through those openings, as Fred on the far side on a yellow card has clattered into Longstaff, who's gone down. Things might change if Manchester United drop down to 10 men. There's not going to be a second yellow here, folks, don't worry, but maybe a touch reckless there from Fred on a yellow card.
And he hasn't. If anything's happened, it was an accident. The referee knows it. Newcastle players are trying to make the worst of it. Longstaff did it before. When he does go down, he always goes down, and look, he's gone down and he just holds something. He's suddenly gone for his knee when I think the ball hit him in his chest.
Yeah, a bit of the old outhousery there from Newcastle United, which they are becoming quite known for, I think.
There is a team, by the way, on the south coast, and they were very much that way under a certain manager called Eddie Howe.
Answers on a postcard, folks, if you can get that riddle. Would you believe it? He's alright, Longstaff.
Yep.
Having a quick word with the referee, though. It may have been handballed by Almiron, I think, that probably should have been given in there. In the end, it's gone for a throw-in on the far side, halfway line. Well, it's carnival atmosphere, isn't it, in the Manchester United end right now. Newcastle's east side of Wembley has gone very quiet since the second goal has gone in. Massive test for Newcastle in the second half, as they have recently crumbled on the pressure of just being in the final. Never mind being 2-0 down in it. Bruno Fernandes here trying to make it 3. He finds Fred. Return pass intercepted. Dallo gets there before Joe Linton. Here's Casemiro. Clips it forward over Wout Weghorst, beyond Fabian Schär and through to Loris Karius in goal. We don't think's at fault for either of the Manchester United strikes. Over the top here to Callum Wilson. Lisandro Martinez heads away. Casemiro sweeps it back to Shaw. And Shaw will find Rashford. Rashford running infield from the left-hand side, but a long way from goal. Back to Varane. And then David De Gea. Tripped into Casemiro. First time volley to Varane is very casual and allows Newcastle to nick it for a moment. So Maximan has kept that pass on from Joe Linton. Bruno gets the ball caught under his feet here for Newcastle. Keeps it in Magpies' possession though with a pass back to Cher. Bruno Guimaraes again. Short to Botman who drives forward. So Maximan on the sideline. Botman again. Final 90 seconds or so until the half-time whistle. Anthony has nicked it for a moment off Son Maximan, but been won back by Alan Son Maximan. Then Byrne will get there before Anthony, but Anthony is able to win it, and there's a chance here for Casemiro to slip in Weghorst, and Weghorst could be through here. He's not got the pace. He holds it up. He does shoot! Oh, what a save! What a save by Loris Karius. Superb stuff from the Newcastle United third choice goalkeeper. It looked like the chance had gone for Weghorst. He then finds a left-footed swinger that is flying towards the top corner, but so was Karius to keep it out. That's a corner for Manchester United.
And that's all started from the fact of Anthony working Dan Byrne on 2 occasions, wins the ball back, and it breaks off to Weghorst, and Weghorst, I thought, was like you said, I didn't think he had the legs to go any further. He certainly found the shot, and it was really a cultured swinger.
I tell you what, Newcastle might have problems here today, but it's not the goalkeeper Loris Karius. That is a very, very good save. Ball in is away in the 6-yard box by Byrne. Recovered by Shaw. Down for Fred. Then left to Bruno Fernandes, who crossed the corner moments ago. Tries a 1-2 with Dalot. He'd gone one way. Ball goes the other. Newcastle keep it in fact. Trying to start a counter-attack, but all they can do is swing it upfield towards Son Maximan and Wilson. Forward by Shaw, only to Almiron. Chance here for Almiron to run at Shaw, who has just been able to win it back and knock it into the path of the retreating Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro. United can bring it away here. If they were to score a third here, this game would be well and truly over. Rashford and Weghorst combining. Casemiro then wins a loose ball after a Newcastle challenge. Bruno Fernandes with a sliding pass onto Anthony. Just seconds remaining here. In fact, Anthony turns back down the sideline towards the halfway, which I think may well bring up the half-time whistle as he tries a bit of skill on Joe Linton and Byrne and Son Maximan. Joe Linton not having that, lands one on him. Then he leaves another United player on his backside as well, Joe Linton. Letting the frustration out here, the big Brazilian midfielder. And there's a yellow card for Joe Linton as well for sticking it about to a few United players there.
There was 2 challenges there, both of them were yellow cards. What he done to Anthony was pure petulance, and then he goes straight, and what he done to Casemiro.
Yeah, I'm not sure Casemiro is one who should be complaining too much about someone going in over the top on him though. Just kind of pulls him back by the shoulder, Joe Linton, having landed one moments before on Anthony. He is yellow carded, Joe Linton, so he joins Diogo Dalot and Fred in the book from this first half.
The Butcher's come across and put his shoulder into him as well.
Where did that come to, his hip?
Oh, come on, he's hit him just below his shoulder.
Joe Linton's massive.
Yeah, but he's just hit him below his shoulder. That's heightism.
It's a statement of fact. There is a chance here for United. Bruno Fernandes takes the kick short. They want the whistle, and they get the whistle here at Wembley Stadium. It's a half that couldn't have gone much better for Manchester United. Casemiro with the opening goal on 33 minutes after a free kick, won by Marcus Rashford over on the left-hand side. VAR checked it. He was just onside. The second goal scored by Marcus Rashford in the 39th minute made it 2-0. Paul Parker, is that game over?
I'm not going to say that, no, it's never over. 2-0 at half-time, it's never over. It's so important when you're 2-0 up. You come out in those first 10-15 minutes and you go at it as the way you finish the game. And that's what United have to do. If they don't do it, Newcastle, as at one point they did think they was going to get back into that game against Liverpool, didn't they?
Yeah.
So if you go out casual and think it's won, then really in theory you should not be playing football.
It might not be over, but it does have a 5 minutes to midnight feel. As Man United lead 2-0 at the half-time break. Analysis to follow. Stay with us. You are listening to the Carabao Cup Final live.
Got an unquenchable thirst for sport? Get up to speed with the day's biggest sports stories with the Talk Sport Hit. Crammed full of the latest team news, big match previews, and discussing the day's hottest topics.
An improvement week in, week out.
Plus, get all the latest results and full fan reaction to the biggest events in world sport.
It's a wonderful goal!
Satisfy your thirst for sports news with the Talk Sport Hit. Subscribe now on Acast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Previously.
fourth official give the decisions, though, do they?
No,
they
don't.
always shout at them for no reason.
No, it's no point, be honest, really. They're like the Deirdre. I've got a problem.
She saved many a marriage. How dare you? How dare you say that about dear Deirdre? She saved my 7th marriage. Didn't do much for the first 6. It's a free kick here for Newcastle on the right-hand side on the sideline. It's about maybe 25-30 yards away from the end line. Kieran Trippier is again over it. They need a good delivery here. Newcastle, they've got one, but it's away by Wan-Bissaka, who's been heavily involved since coming on. Isak forward, away from Shaw. Fred up, but not particularly away. Recovered by Trippier, who can cushion a header back to Bruno Guimaraes, who drives away from Anthony. A bit risky there, but he has got away with it. In fact, good enough to execute it is really what we should be saying. It's into Almiron, who tries to help it through to a runner. There was no runner, and that's easily through to David De Gea, all in yellow, away to our right. 5 minutes going in the second half, still 2-0 to Manchester United. Here is Isak. I'll get your view on exactly where he's playing in a minute, Paul, because he's popping up all over the field at the moment. The big money Swedish international. Here's Alan Saul-Maximin, boxer tricks on the left-hand side, away from Casemiro, and an air shot at the ball as he tried to cross it in. He's still got the beating of all in front of him, Alan Saul-Maximin, but that moment of composure eludes the winger this time.
Yeah, I mean, when he's having a day, he's unplayable, but when he's having a day, you just say he doesn't know what he's doing himself. Where was his eyes then to completely miss the ball like that?
So we're looking here at Newcastle, 4 at the back, 2 in midfield, Joe Linton and Bruno Guimaraes. Then it looks like a pretty standard 4-2-4 for Newcastle at the moment.
That's now then, if you're talking about that, that's when you're looking now. You are looking for Casemiro and Bruno to get on the ball.
Chance here for Callum Wilson, driving towards goal from deep. Dummy to shoot, finds Bruno Guimaraes instead. Right to Almiron, on to Trippier. Trippier's cross towards the near post. Callum Wilson was running in. They're now claiming that there is a hand in there, Newcastle. They're claiming a corner as well. Referee says Callum Wilson got the touch before Lisandro Martinez, and he's going to give that decision the way of Manchester United, and Callum Wilson's got plenty of words to say to the referee about that. Better from Newcastle down the right-hand side.
Well, that's the way it was in the first half, to be honest. All their strength was coming from that right-hand side, and to be honest, to be fair, it should be a corner. I mean, he's really brave there, Martinez. He's got his head there right by Callum Wilson's foot. It was a corner. The referee's got it wrong.
Certainly happy to smother the goose in sauce afterwards, though, to make sure the referee thought he was injured, and try and think about that as opposed to, that maybe should have been a corner.
So when you're talking about the goose, does that kind of go in towards him being the butcher?
Oh yeah, it's quite nice that. Yeah. That's a juicy joint to consider.
Yeah. I don't know why I opened that door.
I don't know why you did. I'm going to make sausages work at some point during the programme. I don't know how. It's the United fans you can hear around us enjoying their trip to Wembley Stadium, hoping to win this trophy for the first time in 5 seasons. First trophy since the Jose Mourinho era. And here is Rashford, who's been so crucial to everything good United have done since the World Cup. Bruno Fernandes tries a laces effort towards goal, left to right. And over the crossbar, referee has given a corner kick, deflection on the way through.
I will say, though, the referee's had something in his ear, by the way, because the referee gives a goal kick, Bruno Fernandes turns, and straight away the referee then goes corner. So something changed his mind.
Looks like he's had Bruno Fernandes in his ear to give that decision. And it's a corner kick to Manchester United on the attacking right-hand side as we get to 54 minutes played, and they're winning 2-0 in the Carabao Cup final. They are cruising to victory at the moment against Newcastle United. So comfortable are they? They might think about resting people for the FA Cup midweek soon. Ball comes in. Rashford's underneath it. Byrne beats him to it. Off the big man's head for another corner.
I would think now, if they were to go and get a third Manchester United, I think then they'd pull Fred off, wouldn't they? With that yellow card.
Yep. Already taken Diogo Dalot off, who has been yellow carded in this match, but that may well have been as performance related as it was for the yellow card. Demoralising second corner here for Manchester United. That's from a Newcastle perspective. Short from Bruno into Rashford. Left-footed cross by Shaw, flicked on by Weghorst towards goal, but it loops into the grateful waiting arms of the Newcastle United number 3, Loris Karius, who makes a simple catch, all in turquoise, the former Liverpool and Union Berlin man. Making his 50th appearance in English football today and first start for Newcastle. Just a reminder, Martin Dubravka had played for Manchester United whilst on loan to them earlier in the season in this competition. That's why he's not here today, and Nick Pope suspended for that red card he picked up against Liverpool last week, though whether Pope could have done much about either goal, I don't really think so, as Trippier fires one into Callum Wilson. First time pass right to Almiron is poorly executed, given away though by Manchester United to Joe Linton. Then Trippier and Almiron once again try and get down the right hand side, challenged by the retreating Weghorst, who has put in a terrific shift today defensively for Manchester United.
Well, that's what he does all the time. A lot of people are looking for him to score goals because he's come as a centre forward, but there's a reason why Ten Hag brought him back. He wanted somebody to put a shift in, week out, or game after game, and that's what he does.
Martial out injured once again for United, as Kieran Trippier tries to turn away from Rashford on the sideline, runs over the sideline, ball at feet, and that will be a throw in to Manchester United. It feels a little bit hopeless at the moment for Newcastle, doesn't it? You've got to say they haven't looked like scoring in the opening 10 minutes of this second period.
No, they haven't, and United started quite well. They've kind of plateaued a little bit, but the onus is on Newcastle to make the difference.
Into Weghorst, back to Shaw, who fires one long and aimless towards Loris Karius. So are they being drawn into a bit of a sense of comfort here, Manchester United, by just how easy it's been so far?
There is that chance, really. They just have to make sure they don't give it any kind of sniff, don't give Newcastle an opportunity to give them belief, and that's what they've got to stop.
Long ball over on the far side towards Alain Saint-Maximin. Wan-Bissaka was chasing the ball down. Referee has given, I think, a throw-in over on the far side, because the ball had already gone out of play before any push or otherwise by Aaron Wan-Bissaka that Saint-Maximin was claiming. Just seeing the replay here, looks like a pretty clear foul to me from Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Referee hasn't given it.
Yeah, there was definitely a nudge from his left knee.
That's a good win by Bruno Guimaraes. Robs Anthony and finds Almiron. No ball outside though for him, as Almiron's over on the left, but they keep on going, Newcastle, with Saint-Maximin. Lovely footwork, gets to the end line, tries to find a release pass, gives it straight to Anthony, who then gives it away again immediately. Saint-Maximin again, edge of the penalty area, can't get the shot away. Bruno, lovely turn, lovely skill, still going Bruno Guimaraes. Can he get a crossing? Can he find a ball? Back to Byrne, who bundles forward. Fred steps across and brings the ball away from Manchester United. That's better from Newcastle. Manchester United that is, try and start the counter. That's a strong challenge on. Bruno's gone down, and we're just pausing because Bruno Guimaraes is now writhing about in agony on the sideline. Not quite sure what's happened to him here, Bruno Guimaraes, but as we mentioned earlier on, Newcastle United simply do not win without him, and he looks somewhat concerned about his right shin here.
Well, I'll tell you what, no one made contact with his shin at all. I mean, it's great work in the box, great work, but I mean, he's come away with it, and he's put a good challenge in on Bruno Fernandes on his right foot. I don't know what he's looking for, to be perfectly honest, and he's gone in. And he's saying it's more of anything than say it might be his ankle, he might have kicked Bruno, but then all of a sudden then he starts holding his shin. So I really don't know what and he's rolled off the pitch, then he's rolled himself back onto the pitch.
Well, of course, you roll back on, you stop the play, you stay off the field. The referee is perfectly within his rights to see the game continue. He's up now, Bruno Guimaraes. The way he went down there.
Yeah, I don't know why people want to do that for. I really not understanding this new thing in the modern game.
We're still receiving some treatment here, as Manchester United get us back underway with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Throw in, right hand side, in towards Anthony. Won by Joe Linton, breaks to Byrne. Almiron back towards Cher, who looks left to Botman, chased down by Weghorst and Anthony, and it's back to Loris Karius in his 6-yard box. Fire one long up towards Wilson. Almiron with a volley left to Alexander Isak. Scored against Fulham, a late winner recently for Newcastle United. Of course, came in, got everyone very excited with his performance against Liverpool, and then missed the rest of the Newcastle games before the World Cup. Forward ball down the left side here by Alan Saint-Maximin. Isak hadn't made the run. Almiron had run away, and that goes out for a goal kick. At the moment, Paul, the change in tactics are not helping Newcastle.
No, they've gone very, very flat. I mean, Isak has dropped off. He's dropped off in a 10 role, then he's gone up. He's pushed up top to almost like you're saying. There's a 4 up front. There's no cohesion at the moment with Newcastle. They just seem they're playing off the cuff at this moment in time. They do not, at this moment, they don't know how to get back into this game.
Eddie Howe in deep discussion with Jason Tyndall on the edge of his 6-yard box here. On the right hand side, both in club tracksuit, but differing club tracksuits. Eddie Howe black and grey, Tyndall black and white. To their left is Erik ten Hag, smart trousers, black shoes and black coat with a hood. Very much looking like he's on his way to a Liam Gallagher concert. That's the wrong Manchester, I know. Don't at me. Stone Roses concert, that probably works better. Again, don't at me. Newcastle goal kick taken short. Back towards Karius and Trippier, then short to Botman, and to his right is Cher, who carries Newcastle forward. We're heading towards 60 minutes played, in fact just over. Score is 2-0 to Manchester United for those just joining us. Both goals coming in the first half. Casemiro and Rashford, we thought, but it has gone down at the moment as a Sven Botman own goal. Very frustrating, I'm sure, for Rashford and for Botman. I'm sure there is do they still have a dubious goals panel? Is that a thing?
No, I haven't heard that mentioned for years.
No. You're listening to the 1979 League Cup final, apparently. Throwing down the line from Shaw to Rashford, who miscues lob forward. It's out for a Newcastle throw. They're in the attacking third here, Newcastle, with the throw in for Trippier. What can they do? What can they create? What have they got? At the moment, it's not a great deal across the game. 7 attempts, 1 on target to Man United's 9, 6 on target. They're dominating possession. You often get that, though, with one team winning so comfortably and the other has aimless possession around their defenders, and the other team goes into a bit of a low block. It's not gone fully that so far for Manchester United, but they certainly are in almost complete cruise control of this game as Wan-Bissaka and Weghorst press high on Newcastle and nearly win it back. At the feet of Loris Karius here, who finds a good click up towards the halfway line. Varane wins it in the air, knocks it down to Anthony. Newcastle's second best to everything right now, but Anthony keeps giving him a chance, and that's brilliant skill by Alan Saint-Maximin. Can he keep this in? Yes, he can. And he's beat Anthony again. Saint-Maximin beats another player and another player, but he's passed to Fred. He's poor, but he will find Isak on the edge. Alexander Isak carries out right. 2 players with him. Fred is there trying to put a challenge in, still going here, Newcastle. Bruno Guimaraes goes down, Fred brings it away, and again, Newcastle simply can't find a penetrating move around the Manchester United defence.
Well, they got their bit of joy in Newcastle by Manchester United in the end, giving them the opportunity. And when it matters to United, their end product has been, it's been a very poor second half for Manchester United at this moment. They're not playing like a side who should be 2-0 up, they're not passing with conviction, they're not actually, I don't think they've made 3 passes in this game so far.
And there, to emphasise Paul Parker's point, a clip up towards Bruno Fernandes. He brings it down, tries to loop it forward to the runners, and he knocks it straight into touch for another Newcastle United throw, who might just be realising they are sinking towards another Wembley defeat to Manchester United. And those people who need to every year look up what the Intercities Fairs Cup is might be doing it again for at least another 12 months. Don't ask again. Don't at me. Don't at me. I don't know.
I can actually name the captain
of the team that won the Intercities Fairs trophy.
I can remember his surname. I can remember his name as it goes.
We'll get back to it as Saint-Maximin is in the penalty area here for Newcastle once again, dropping the shoulder and stepping over the ball. But again, not finding anything particularly interesting in the penalty area to aim for. He has to go short and back again. It's to the right-hand side now, and Trippier on to Almiron in the offensive third here, Newcastle. Turn of pace by Almiron. 1-2 with Bruno. Starting challenge by Bruno Fernandes for Manchester United. Still going here, Almiron tries a shot. Will it break to Isak? No, it won't. Cleared away by Wan-Bissaka, and it breaks to Marcus Rashford on the halfway line. Over it now, left-hand side. 3 players forward here for Manchester United. Tries to take him on the outside here, Fabian Schär, who goes to ground, wins the ball superbly well for the Magpies and brings them forward. Newcastle got to get this a bit end-to-end here. They go long to the far side towards Alan Saint-Maximin. Up in the air but not away from Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Alan Saint-Maximin on the ball. Corner of the area. Once again beats Anthony. Once again beats Casemiro. Once again tries a cross. This time it's blocked by Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and that's a corner kick to Newcastle United.
And again, that's come from Manchester United. Marcus Rashford, poor decision maker on numerous occasions there. The ball gets it wide, come back, Bruno's making a run through the middle, give the ball to Bruno Fernandes and then build from there. Decides to try and beat two men out wide, loses possession and he jogs back.
Alan Saint-Maximin, the danger man right now for Newcastle United. He's won this corner which Kieran Trippier will take. Short again to Almiron, back to Trippier, chips it a long way from goal, in fact almost to the halfway line here. That certainly wasn't the plan. Back to him again from the halfway line, picks it up by the corner flag. You were just here, without a bloke in front of you. And he tries to nutmeg and run around Lisandro Martinez, who takes the nutmeg and comes away with the ball. He goes diagonal, but it's won on the halfway by Botman, who heads it right to Almiron, who's got some space here for Newcastle on that right hand side. Into Isak, turns away from Fred. Tries to poke it through to Wilson, rather aimless from Alexander Isak. Recovered by Trippier, chipped out right to Almiron, it's away from Shaw. Almiron would have been offside. Referee allows play to go on as Fred can start the counter. Slips it to Weghorst, tries to look further on towards Rashford. Fred was caught late. That's a Manchester United free kick. And I think the yellow card might be coming out here for someone as well. It's going to be Sven Botman for, I'm assuming, a different challenge, or maybe something
he's left one on there. He's pushed into his face, to be perfectly honest. He led with his arm into Fred.
Right. So Botman yellowed, Joe Linton yellowed, Fred on a yellow card for Manchester United. The other yellow in the game was Dalot. He's since been withdrawn for Wan-Bissaka. Well, it was Isak with the challenge on Fred, sorry. But it was Botman who got the yellow.
I think, there it was, yeah. That's the reason why he threw the ball to the ground.
Oh, give me a break, ref. 2-0 down in the cup final with 66 minutes gone. I mean, cut him some slack.
No, you've got to remember they're robots.
Oh, that's it. I thought we loved the passion with an SH. Maybe not. Anyway, yellow card for Botman. Bit harsh in my view, but there we are. Here's Saint-Maximin, who's been just superb today. He's away from Wan-Bissaka for a while, but Wan-Bissaka is superb at those covering challenges to win it back. The referee says the shirt was pulled somewhere before the tackle, and that's going to be a free kick, which has caused many a man around me and a woman to shake their head in frustration at that foul being given. Who knows what a foul is? Don't at me, folks.
Yeah, exactly right. That is a big question.
I kind of want someone to at me now. I've been saying it so much in this second half. At TalkSport Live is where you do it, folks. Should you want to get in touch with your commentary team, as people are from around the world, we'll read out some of your comments next time we have a significant break in play. I think we'll get a couple of Manchester United substitutions when that happens as well. Ball chipped in up towards the penalty area, punched away by De Gea, shot a goal by Joe Linton, breaks to Callum Wilson, shot again at goal, blocked on its way through Lisandro Martinez. It was Joe Linton's second effort that was better. That may well have been testing David De Gea, but there are so many red shirts in the way. He goes out for a corner kick.
Yeah, that's been their best bit of his second half so far for Newcastle. I'm looking down here, I'm seeing a double substitution coming up. I'm just looks
like Sabitzer and McTominay are about to come on for Manchester United. Those are consolidate the game moves, unless they can score a corner here. Back in towards the penalty area from the right hand side. Referee has given some sort of infringement in the penalty area away from the ball, much to the extreme irritation of Jason Tinder when Eddie Howe and everyone in black and white away to our right. From our vantage point, it's very difficult to tell exactly what the referee has given there, but it is a free kick to Manchester United, and they will now make those changes. It's Marcel Sabitzer and Scott McTominay coming on. Leaving the field are number 17 Fred and number 27 Wout Weghorst. Maybe two changes we might have expected.
Yeah.
So where does that leave us, with Rashford maybe going more central?
I think it seems that way. I think it's the only way it can really... Well, Sabitzer's going to go through the middle.
Looks like Marcus Rashford is going central. Anthony out right. Sabitzer coming on in the central midfield role.
Maybe